Hello and welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, for another video. And we are, as always, going to be looking at the player ratings for Atletico Madrid against Barcelona. A 1-1 draw it finished. There was a very poor performance in that first half, much more encouraging in the second. And we're going to be having a look through every player that did play today and having a look at how they performed and what rating they scored out of 10. So we're going to start, of course, as we always do, with Ter Stegen. And Ter Stegen always does seem to get a good mark, doesn't he? You know, he always seems to be consistent. This season he's having an excellent season and he made two absolutely vital saves in that first half, both of them from Antoine Griezmann. First of all, it was one down to his left, very good save at his near post, and then a really fantastic save one-on-one with Griezmann. He sticks out his left leg, a really good save. I'm going to give Ter Stegen an 8.5 out of 10. He couldn't have done anything at all about the goal. It was a fantastic strike from Saul. There was nothing really that he could have done about that. And once again today, an excellent performance from our goalkeeper, who just seems to be getting better. The second player that we're going to look at is Nelson Semedo. I'm going to give him a very solid 7 out of 10. That's sort of the going rate today. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything spectacular. He was only on the pitch as well for 60 minutes as well. I thought it was a harsh decision to take him off. I don't think really to see he did anything to warrant that. I thought he deserved to stay on the pitch. He's always good. He was athletic. He was matching Carrasco down that left-hand side, certainly for pace. He had him. He didn't really have any bad moments defensively. There was a little bit of, worry for the goal. He came out of his position to get the ball. He didn't really get it. I wouldn't say the goal was his fault, though. There was a poor, sort of understanding from the midfield to close down the space, and Pique didn't really get out to Saul either, so that wasn't really Semedo's fault on the night. 7 out of 10, a decent performance from him. Pique, though, at centre-back, not good again from him. I'm going to go with 5 out of 10. I thought the performance today, particularly in that first half from Pique, he did make a very good tackle, a last-ditch tackle in that second half, but other than that, it was poor from him again today. Particularly in that first half, he was nutmegged by Antoine Griezmann. He had a really difficult time. He didn't get out for the goal. He didn't close down Saul, and for that reason, 5 out of 10 is warranted. He's not really performing at the level we need him to be right now. I'm not really sure, like I said before the game, where his head is at, how he's feeling mentally, but it wasn't good again from him today, particularly in that first half. He could have easily cost us 1 or 2 goals. And now for the man of the match, Samuel Umtiti, centre-back. Like I said, like Ter Stegen, he's been outstanding all season long. Consistent performances, very good displays, 9.5 out of 10 tonight, because honestly, he did not put a single foot wrong. Pique next to him was shaky at times, but Umtiti was always there. He was always consistent, and he was always a rock in that defence. There was some fantastic interceptions, there was some very good last-ditch tackles. He was always strong, always very physical, and against Atletico Madrid, that's exactly what you need. You need to match them in physicality, and Umtiti did that tonight, and he was excellent and composed on the ball, as he always is as well. So a really complete performance by him, who was, for me, definitely the man of the match. Then on to Jordi Alba at left back. I am going to give him a 6 out of 10. He was very energetic down that left. It could even be lower though, because when he was getting into the final third, he was going back to his old ways of just not delivering the right pass. There was a moment in that second half where Jordi Alba was down the left. Luis Suarez found him in space. It was a really nice pass from Suarez. He was in behind the Atletico Madrid defence. He was in on goal. All he had to do was square the ball to Messi and Gomes, who were in the box. It was a basic pass, either along the floor or a mid-height. Instead, he absolutely blasted the ball very high, well over everybody, and it was a really good opening and a really good chance wasted. So Alba down that left, he was always giving us an outlet, he was always giving us energy, but he wasn't good enough in the final third today. So for that reason, 6 out of 10 for Jordi Alba. Now on to Busquets in midfield, who I'm going to go with an 8.5 out of 10. I thought once again today he was absolutely excellent. He produced some really nice touches in that first half. He's always calm in possession. He was keeping that midfield ticking over, and also in that second half when we started to push forward, when we started to throw men forward, he was the one who was disciplined, who was sitting in front of our defence and just making sure that we stayed solid defensively. He made a really good tackle on Fernando Torres in that second half as well. Torres could have been an own goal. Busquets made a really good tackle, a good interception, and it was a really good performance from him once again in that centre midfield position. He was outstanding for me. 8.5 out of 10 for Sergio Busquets. Ivan Rakitic, I'm going to go with a 6 out of 10. Much like Jordi Alba at times, he played the wrong ball. I don't think he was terrible today. I just think at times he could have been more adventurous. He could have made more forward passes. He could have been a bit more sort of trying to go places with the ball. He tried to make some progress. Instead, though, Rakitic always, for me, looked to play that easy pass. It was always going sideways. It was always going backwards. And I just think Rakitic has got a whole lot more than that. He's got a lot of quality. He's very good in possession. He can play nice passes. You want to see him do that. You want to see him have a bit of belief, a bit of confidence to go and show that quality. But tonight, for me, didn't really do it. That's why 6 out of 10 for me is what Rakitic deserved tonight. Now for Iniesta, who only played 60 minutes like Semedo, but I thought in that first half, like I said in my review video, Iniesta for me was the best player on the pitch for us. He was looking to make those runs, he was looking to be positive, he was looking to go forward, and that's why for me, Iniesta, 8 out of 10 tonight is definitely deserved. In that first half, he showed good quality on the ball. He was driving forward. He wasn't showing his age at all. I don't know whether he came off because of his injury, whether he, he didn't want to play too much football in case of aggravating that, whether he wasn't quite fit to play the full game. Either way, the time that he was on the pitch, he played very, very well. So 8 out of 10 definitely for me is well deserved for Iniesta. Andre Gomes was obviously a big gamble by Ernesto Valverde to start him, and I want to first of all say, to be fair to him, he is not a right winger, and he's also not a left winger, so the only time that really should be judged is when he's in that midfield position. I don't know why Valverde decided to start him out on the right. I think Denis Suarez deserved to start the game. I don't understand why he didn't do that. Unfortunately though, Gomes, when he was in those right wing positions, when he was in those advanced positions, he was much like Rakitic, playing the easy pass far too many times. He wasn't taking a risk, he wasn't taking a gamble, and unfortunately tonight I'm going to go with 6.5 out of 10 for him. At times he did show some quality, particularly when he was moved into that central role. He took on his man, he had a few shots, he was looking a bit more dangerous in the final third. That was when he was in his preferred position, so that is possibly a lesson as much to Valverde as it is to Gomes. Tonight he wasn't great though, 6.5 out of 10 for Gomes. It wasn't quite good enough in those wide areas, where to be fair to him, he is not comfortable and should not be playing. Lionel Messi tonight, I'm going to go with 8 out of 10. You've got to bear in mind for these South American players, not only Messi but Suarez as well, of course. Players who are coming back off long journeys. International break obviously took a lot out of Leo. He got himself to the World Cup with Argentina. Fantastic performance in his game against Ecuador. And I think you saw that at times with him and Suarez. At times they were a bit fatigued. They didn't look that lively going into the last few minutes perhaps. But Messi on the whole was good. He hit the post from a free kick. Very close to scoring very early on in the game as well, making a good run. 30 seconds in, he could have scored and put Barca ahead. He was also looking lively, in that second half. He was picking the ball up a bit deeper. He was very close to scoring with an effort from the edge of the box. And I think on another day, Messi could have easily left the game with sort of 1 or 2 goals. So 8 out of 10, possibly could even be 8.5 tonight for Messi. A good display and very unlucky for me not to score. Then on to Luis Suarez. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10 also. In the first half, he was well below par. He wasn't good. His first touch wasn't good. His positioning wasn't great either. He was offside a few times. But in that second half, I thought he was outstanding. His goal was brilliant. He got himself in the positions. At times, yes, he had a bad touch, he had a bad pass, but overall, he was getting himself into the positions, he was making the runs, he was certainly wanting the ball, and he didn't shy away from it. He took the responsibility, he was a leader up front, he showed his experience, and for the goal, he got into the box, he got on the end of Sergio Roberto's cross, and it's a brilliant header to give us a vital point. At the end of the day, Luis Suarez is the reason that it's 1-1. He's got us the point tonight, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for that. He's been going through a difficult time, he's trying to get that confidence back, he scored for Uruguay in midweek, he scored again now, and I think 8 out of 10 tonight, simply for that second half performance and that goal, is well deserved. On to Sergi Roberto now, came on of course for Nelson Semedo. He was playing primarily in that right back slot, but he played most of the time in the final third. He was going forward, he was showing what he can do, and every time I watch him I think, why on earth is he not playing in midfield? Because he was the one who was taking risks, he was coming forward, he was giving us a bit of pace in that midfield and a bit of energy. And of course his assist for Luis Suarez's goal was brilliant as well. He had the vision to pick him out and he had the weight of the pass to pick him out. That's just not a cross that he's just slung into the box. He has picked out Suarez there with a pinpoint cross and pinpoint accuracy. I think Sergio Roberto can definitely play a part in man midfield. He came on today, he made an impact once again. He always seems to do that when he's coming forward. It's only defensively that he's not quite there, and that's simply because he's not a right back. So play him where he deserves to play, where he keeps showing that he can do, and tonight, at least for me, a 7.5 could easily be an 8 if maybe he played more of the game. And finally, the last player that I'm going to judge is Deulofeu. I'm not going to rate Paulinho simply because I don't think he was on the pitch long enough to make a big impact. He came on, he gave us something a bit different, but he didn't get an awful lot of touches on the ball. And Deulofeu came on, he gave us some pace in the wide areas a few times, he made a few runs which didn't quite work out, he ran the ball out a few times. He was clearly coming on to give us some energy, and at times he did that, and he was very important as well in his positioning. He was out on that wide right, he was keeping his width, and what he did by doing that was stretch Atletico Madrid, because they were trying to be as compact as possible. They were getting their centre-backs very tight to the box, and they were trying to really compact that box area. What Deulofeu did was come on, stretch the play a bit, try to run in behind when he could, and he did a good job. As he always does, he works hard. You could possibly say that he had a bit of, Alba syndrome about him. When he got into the final third, he wasn't always making the right choice, but as we've seen with Deulofeu at times, his hard work can do an awful lot for us. Tonight, I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10. He wasn't brilliant, he wasn't fantastic, but he came on, he did the job that Valverde wanted him to do, and it was a decent sub appearance for him. And the final rating that I'm going going to give out is for the coach, Ernesto Valverde, and I'm going to go with a 5 out of 10, and that is probably being generous, to be honest with you. I think the gambles to go with Andre Gomes simply didn't work out. I've no idea why Valverde chose to do it in a game of this magnitude. I think Denis Suarez at least deserved to start this game. At the very, very least, he should have been coming off the bench. He could have made an impact in a game like this. Like I said earlier on, don't really understand why Semedo was coming off and then Roberto coming on. Roberto coming on is great, you know, you could have brought him on directly for Rakitic or Gomes. Instead, though, he takes off Semedo. I don't really understand that. Roberto doesn't need to play right back, you know, he can play in midfield. So there was a few decisions today that I just think Valverde got a bit wrong. He needs to learn from those, and he needs to learn quickly. You need to learn, basically, that you can't rotate and gamble and sort of make these decisions in games like this. You need to have a strategy, you need to have a game plan, and in that first half, we just looked lost. So I think Valverde has work to do. I hope that he can do it, and I hope that we can see improvements in performances coming up. We got a Champions League game in midweek against Olympiacos, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see his team selection for that game. I'll see you, as always, guys, in the days leading up to that game, and I will have more videos coming up for you very, very shortly indeed. Leave your ratings below, as always, down below, and let me know your thoughts as well. You know, why are you rating the players differently to me? If you are going to do that, let me know your thoughts down below. I'll see you very, very soon indeed. But until then, as always, Vasca el Barça. Barça, Barça, Barça.